Hello and welcome to Enter the Dragon Tamers Den, a Pokemon Go PvP podcast and the official podcast of the Battle Frontier. I am TacoDog8.
And I am JetForceGemini.
And if you're new around here, we talk about Pokemon Go PvP, mainly focusing on the grassroots tournament known as the Battle Frontier. If you're not new around here, it was the first week of the playoffs. Everything went off without a hitch, and all of our predictions sure did come true. But before we do that,
your predictions were especially spot on this week.
Oh yeah, I'm like psychic, you know. But before we get into that, I gotta ask, Jet, how was your vacation and how was your week?
It was great. I haven't been to the Bay Area quite a bit of time. Like I couldn't actually tell you for sure if I've been like back as an adult. Like I did all the kid stuff long ago, but it was good to just go and hang out and not really have much of an agenda. So we did a few things and actually got to hang out with Jack on one of the nights. So that was a great time.
That's awesome.
Apart from that, I mean, it's been a week since that, and the only drama of the whole trip was our plane back left without us, which was super fun. It was the first time I've ever been in a situation where the plane, like, they closed the door before the like posted departure time. It's like they left us by leaving early. Like the security was super slow, so it was just like there were other people on our flight in the line with us, so we're like, okay, well, they will know that there's like 10 people missing, right? No, they didn't care. It was whatever. But we got on the next plane, so it was not a big deal, but it was briefly obnoxious.
I at least hope that the airliner had realized their mistake and had given you, you know, something for your troubles, like a free upgrade or something.
No.
Did you fly Spirit by chance?
No, this was Southwest, but it was just apparently they had no idea that security was as behind as it was, because it was not like there was another line that we could have gone to or anything. They were just incapable of getting through the number of people that were there. It was just dumb.
I'm gonna add this to the list of reasons why Taco does not like flying.
like I said, this has never happened before where they've been like, normally if there's a problem like that, everybody knows. Like it's not just TSA kind of keeping it to themselves. It's everybody's getting through this line. We know who should be here and who's not, and clearly they've got some issues with staffing, and then also with communication with the rest of the terminal, because that was ridiculous.
Jeez Louise, my apologies on that one.
I mean, it turned out fine. It was just like, in the moment, just felt extra ridiculous.
That's fair. Hopefully you didn't have too much of a too much of a delay from like when the next plane took off to home.
No, it was just an hour, and of course our bags made it on the plane, and they were waiting for us when we got there. So that was nice in a way that like we could just roll up to the baggage claim and be the only ones with bags there waiting for us. But I mean, it was because we were a whole extra hour late, so
that makes sense. Well, glad you made it home, and Southwest, get your stuff together. Like, come on, man. Come on.
I mean, if we're gonna call out anyone, it was the airport. It was not them necessarily. Like, it did feel weird that they left early. Like that's still blowing my mind a little bit, but I can handle that more than how like just immobile the line was. And they had some new technology stuff too. So I mean, it should have been faster than normal, not slower, because they had millimeter machines, so you didn't even have to like take anything out of your bag. So
I've never heard of a millimeter machine.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was on the surface. Again, it should have been a lot faster, but they had the B team, I think, because even when I finally got up to the line, the person in front of me, they had to scan twice. So it's just like, yeah, now I see what has been happening here.
Oh no!
Like, if you have to do everybody twice, and then we also found out, this is just like an extra tidbit before we move on, that the other people on our flight that like were even later than us were stuck because the machine broke. So then they had to rescan a bunch of bags. So it's just like, what do you even do? Yeah. Anyway,
whatever happened to the old, take everything out, put it in a bin, send it on through the scanner?
Well, and I mean, like, there are plenty of those still, like, just with the regular X-ray machines. But yeah, it was just the complete comedy of errors where it made no, like, it was so ridiculous that I couldn't even be mad. It was just like these people have to be like the ones actually working must be having so much worse of a day than me.
Honestly, probably being a TSA agent would probably not be on the list of pleasant jobs, especially dealing with like quote unquote Kevins and Karens going, "I missed my flight because of you." I'm sorry? Question mark. That,
well,
your poor planning's my fault.
If you are the kind of person to take advantage of a modicum of power, though, they seem to attract those types quite readily.
I still remember, this was, I think, almost 10 years ago when I was in college. God, I feel old. When I was flying out from back when I used to live in the very deep part of Texas, I had these giant blocks of frozen tamales, and I was bringing them onto the carry-on, and the TSA agent stopped me and goes, "Sir, what is this?" And I said, "Sir, I am but a humble Texan about to go to a place that serves, quote, authentic Mexican food they call Taco Bell. I need these homemade tamales." And he goes, "Here you go." And just handed it to me and said, "All right, cool beans." Like, that story just happened to work. And I was like, "Well, can I have my water bottle too?" He's like, "No, it's full. We have to dump that out because, water is dangerous."
Liquids. Yeah, ends. My sister takes home like 8 burritos to Canada now every trip, so I don't think she's ever been questioned.
I think it was also just the, quote, absurdity of it, or just the randomness that was, there's 2 10-pound blocks of frozen tamales. I think it was like 10 dozen a piece. It was a lot.
That is a lot.
I think that was more of the what set off some alarm bells. Like, why do you have so many blocks? And I go,
yeah,
my friend. But they were cool, and they let me through. It's like, well, as long as you don't do anything bad with them. I was like, I can't do anything with them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna touch them. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, my week was pretty decent. I went out a little bit for Heracross raid day. Got 4,000 meg energy. We were averaging about 250 energy a raid, and
that's the cap, right?
I think so, because we were churning through them like, ooh, we usually our raid route for like legendary raids we can do in an hour. We were able to tack on 4 extra raids on top of that because we were just moving and moving and moving. And everyone's like, "Oh, I did my 5, I'm done." And I go, "Well, I have enough to get to level 3 from here." But now I want my Hundo Heracross.
Did you get one?
No, I haven't.
Did you need the shiny? I can't remember.
I'll have time when I go to Texas for a couple of months. to get it.
Did you not get one this time?
I don't think I got it this time. I got it during the Johto tour in 2022. I didn't get a shiny Corsola though. I was very angry about that.
Well, I mean, just getting the Heracross is impressive because that was of course the talk of the town back then. Was both the Corsola and Heracross raids were not well advertised for the fact that they were full odds.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Oh yeah, by the way, you can get these shinies. Just, don't look into the data about how many attempts it might take you.
Yeah, one in 512. It's gonna be great. It's fine. But
that's what you guys like, right?
I did an absurd amount of Corsola raids that I was able to transfer all the Corsolas that I got. I got a perfect Corsola out of it though, which was kind of cool. We ended up, and I got enough to max it out to level 50. So PvP Corsola win.
That's a lot of raids.
Yeah, it was an absurd amount.
Unfortunately, that one can't evolve, but someday you'll get the other one.
Yeah. Although the other part was I started riding my bicycle more, and thankfully have not gotten into another accident.
I like how you need to say that at this point.
I have to clarify. It's been a year and a half, but I'm still gonna make self-deprecating jokes about it because as a cyclist, I think there was a YouTube video I watched where it's like I think it's casually explained cycling, and it said the main difference between a cyclist is a cyclist and like a pedestrian is a pedestrian has. I'm obviously paraphrasing because it's been so long since I watched the video. It's like a pedestrian knows that they'll look out for cars and stuff. But if you cycle to work or if you're a cyclist, you've accepted the inevitable that eventually you're gonna get hit by a car, and you've accepted that part. And I go, that's me.
Yeah, it's the whole how many times is okay.
One. Everybody gets at least one.
And one and done? No more now?
I'm up to 2, but
yeah.
Yeah, 2022 is not a... Wait, I gotta stop myself because my wife will probably be listening to it. The first half of 2022 was not a good start. The second half, that's when I got married. That's a yay.
Things picked up.
Well, it was like my first accident was, I want to say in like May. There was a DoorDasher that just decided to park in the bike lane, and I broke his mirror, and he broke my bike bag, and he got very upsetty. And I go, see that sign right there? It says don't park in the bike lane, and this is what you're doing. And obviously the officer, because it was an quote unquote an accident, an officer came to the scene and goes, yeah, dude, it's your fault. Here's your ticket. I was like,
well,
cool.
That's nice that they stuck around to receive a ticket.
It was like they really couldn't. They hadn't even gotten the food from the restaurant. I think it was like Buffalo Wild Wings or something. It was like right in that area on Clinton Street. I was like,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that had happened, and afterwards the officer got the ticket. I was like, yeah, I can just ride away now. Like my bike bag is a little busted, but it should hold on. I got some duct tape. And then the second one was the more dramatic one. So, but yeah, other than that, it's been quiet. I've been playing a lot more TCG. I found out Qianpao is my favorite deck to play. I should be playing more Go, but GBL is just very unstable. I don't like it. I'm not gonna touch it.
I don't blame anyone that has decided against Jungle Cup specifically, but you do have open leagues coming next, so you have that to look forward to.
I also got Master Premier. I actually have some things built for it.
That's still an extra week though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was my week, so time to do some Niantic and Battle Frontier news. Huzzah!
Yay!
Okay, so first things first. Of course, we had the Mega Heracross Day over the weekend. Hope you all had your Mega Energy. You cannot use Mega Heracross. It is banned until further notice, meaning the dev team the Master League team is currently testing it. Honestly, it probably makes sense to just keep it banned till the end of the cycle because there's like 3 weeks of playoffs left, which that's just my 2 cents on it. I'm not on the meta team.
it would be easier for them, but they're also so quick about it. I'm sure if it's not too crazy, because I know it more than doubles its stat product, right? Going from base to mega.
Yeah.
I haven't compared it to any of the other stuff, but as long as it's not in the same realm as the other banned megas, then I would be surprised if they don't just put it as a high point value pick.
Yeah. I mean, counter, I guess like with Mega Heracross itself with the counter, you hurt the both Dialga. I was gonna say Mega Dialga, but
yeah,
ooh.
Mega Dialga.
Yeah, you hurt Dialga pretty bad. That's all I can think about, honestly. Rock Blast can hurt Ho-Oh if you have an energy lead. I guess putting in like certain situations. Close combat can still hurt Yveltal for a decent amount, even though it's neutral.
Yeah, and I was seeing just in the few checks I made that the default set I think was close combat Mega Horn. So, not that it is necessarily the best, but Mega Horn is a good enough move that it's not super surprising.
Yeah, and I guess because you're also getting it's a stab move and it's a nuke move. So if you put Mega Heracross in as the closer, then I can see where that move set would make sense. But like if it's a lead, I'd probably throw Rock Blast on it. That's just my personal interpretation or my personal thing with it. So,
and at least in Battle Frontier, you have your option to switch around from 1 week to the next.
Yeah, that's always good. All right, so
and it doesn't have any restricted moves, so you don't have to worry about having multiples.
That's true. That's always a good start, or a good sign. Excuse me. We also do have probably the most, I'm going to say, dumb and stupid and just pandering community day. April 20th, Pokemon number 69, Bellsprout, from 2 to 5. As if we all need a reason to get candy for Shadow Victory Bell in Great, Ultra, and Master League.
It's just a dust day, and
yeah,
to be fair, Bellsprout hasn't had boosted odds outside of I checked the last ones I got. They were from last GoFest, and I mean there were so many spawns. I feel like unless you were hunting it specifically, it was easy not to get like too many of those banked compared to like the other stuff that was running around.
Right. I mean, the way I kind of look at it is obviously it's kind of a meme at this point, but I'll still be playing.
I mean, which part, Taco? Which part is a meme?
All of it. The whole day is a freaking meme. I hate it. I'm not gonna lie. I really and truly would say if it was not for the fact that my dust reserves are low, Taco needs dust, I would skip this community day in its entirety.
What are you spending dust on?
Look, I'm trying to get my Master League roster up, okay? Like, don't come after me. I have Master League projects to build now. I'm making this is the start of Taco goes into the Master League or attempts the Master League, you know?
Are we expecting another Master League stream soon?
Look. Maybe.
You did go to LA, so you have the newfangled kids on the block that
still haven't built
on every single team.
I still haven't built the origin form Dialga.
I just recently got both of the Origins Best Buddy, so I'm happy with that progress.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. But so this is the start of that. Naked Horner's probably in the background going, "Good job, Taco. This is how you go from Great League to Master League." As a convert.
This is how you build your House of Despair.
Hey, look, on the bright side, if there's a cup that is just complete another doo-doo, I can play in the Master League now.
Yeah, or even if it's not terrible, if you don't just want to play it for weeks straight.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Master League stream, I'll probably not stream until I come back from Texas.
So you're on stream hiatus?
Yeah, unfortunately I'm gonna be on stream hiatus for a little bit. I don't want to, but I have to.
For the sake of your sanity.
Honestly, no. I loved being on stream. It was just things got difficult and it became harder and harder. And then what I announced, 2-3 weeks ago, going down for something that needs to be done. That just means that I'm not going to be essentially like taking my whole setup and moving it down there for 3-4 months. I'm probably going to be back to the Surface tablet and a Nintendo Switch and like a duffel bag, because
things you can carry.
It's going to be the equivalent to I'm going to be living out of my suitcase, and I'm okay with that.
It's good to know how much you can handle. And I was also, before we go too crazy, I was going to ask how you felt about the new move for the Victory Bell.
It's a 3-turn fast move. I mean, Magical Leaf does Magical Leaf things, but Magical Leaf desperately needs some assistance, and I don't see a reason why people would run Magical Leaf over Razor Leaf, because Shadow Vic go burr. And if you play Shadow Vic in the Great League, I just want you to know I don't respect you and I don't respect it.
It'll be interesting to see how many people decide to go that route, just because it does change the tap build a little, like enough to make it slightly more interesting, right? Where at least you can actually use something like a Sludge Bomb. You can get a lot more pressure out of the Leaf Blades because you're getting them to them significantly faster. But yeah, that was never really the point of Shadow Vic. So like I said, I'll be curious to see, especially when we get back to Open Great League. Over right before the weekend that this gets added in, like
those are my thoughts.
Will it change anything, or are those people just so set, like they barely wanted to adopt Wigglytuff and they're not about to change things now?
The Basti Shadow Vic is I've said it before, it's a 0 skill line. It's tap go burr. I remember somebody in our Discord kind of said he's already kind of called me out about calling. I called it a 0 skill and it was just not worth it. And someone said, well, at least you haven't said anything about Wigglytuff. I said, I kind of like Wigglytuff. It does things. Like, I think you could slot Wigglytuff in on other teams better and not be too RPS, because you can still charm through everything. Or at least you're disrupting with Icy Wind, so. But like the other ones, you just tap.
Disarming Voice also made it a little bit faster, but yeah, it doesn't quite have the same reputation, and it's made it onto a couple play Pokemon, like successful play Pokemon squads, so.
Yeah. But The day is coming though, unfortunately, where someone's gonna run Basti, Shadow, Vic, Wigglytuff in a Play Pokemon tournament, and that's gonna be the whole line. I dread the day that becomes a day 2 team.
Well, at least we avoided the timeline where it was just, the three that you said, the Basti, Vic, Wiggly, and then the 3 underneath are just something like Steelix, Tropius, Alola Ninetales or something.
Oh no!
Where it's just pick your poison of. Oh no!
Oh no!
It's like,
or the
which Razor Leafer do you think will show up, or is it both? Which Charmer, or both?
Charm double Razor Leaf, Bassy double Charm. God, this is gonna spike just my insanity. For the sake of sanity, Taco has decided to retire from Pokemon Go. He's moving on to he's moving on to VG in that direction. For obvious reasons.
Not that I think anyone needs any help running their less than spicy lines. Like I'm sure it's been attempted already, but yeah, the one that makes it a day 2, like you said, will really throw things for a loop.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. Definitely not.
I mean, it if we're lucky, it never happens, right? The bar gets higher every tournament, so
yeah, we'll get to that part, we'll get to the Play Pokemon segment of part 2 because a lot apparently happened over these 2 weeks.
There were a few tournaments since the last episode.
And then just to kind of recap the other news, Necrozma is coming to Go. Big surprise! It's Go Fest. Please save some Necrozma raids for me. I'd really very much appreciate it.
And then we may or may not get the last 2 remaining Ultra Beasts as well. I think they're like the quote-unquote surprise mon still at this point.
It's Stakataka and is it Peempole? Peempole? I know one of them evolves.
No, Poipole is the seasonal one.
Oh yeah, you're right. What's the other one?
The other one is like the Fire Clown Blacephalon thing.
Oh. I had a joke about it, but I lost it, so I'm gonna forget. Blacephalon. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, those will come. And then we know we had the XXL and XXS event, but all the showcases were just showcasing XXL Pokemon.
I was completely ready to at very least see our first overall tiniest showcase. It's like not even really put like a Pokemon on it, or there were highlight Pokemon that were small on purpose. I was like, oh, here we go. It'll be big and small. No, just still big.
Joltik is probably the one that comes to mind.
Well, we had Joltik, right? And we had the fairy event, so the Flabébés are notoriously
tiny. Yeah, you're right.
And then, of course, Tynamo with tiny in the name.
I did also get my first shiny Cutiefly.
There you go. I'm still looking for that one.
Yeah, I got it when I was at a birthday party over the weekend for one of the Go players. So that was kind of neat.
Instant celebrations. You were with people that understood.
Yes, and nobody called me weird for it, or nobody called us weird for it. We were just there like minding our own business, flipping the gyms because apparently there were some other players, and we had a good time.
Yeah.
And then on the show notes, you put a facelift coming through. Is that like the change? I guess like the what's the word? The character customization's changing.
So it's the next several weeks of things. They finally put dates on where all of the map and encounter and battle backgrounds will be live for everyone. Right now they're still limited either by account or by region. And yeah, the same goes for the character customization, which I think maybe we talked about a little bit, where I ran into a section that had it, and it was not particularly appealing.
Yeah,
but maybe it was just because I didn't get a chance to play with it at all. It was just the whatever it automatically updated to was hideous for everyone. But yeah, it's reminiscent of like the PlayStation 2 Harry Potter games, where it's just like the kind of uncanny valley.
I
definitely not entirely human faces, where it's like I see what they're trying to do, but I don't know if making everything more round-ish is the answer.
I'm trying to remember, what was it? There was a Harry Potter game, and like Hagrid just looked like he got hit in the face with a shovel. I don't remember if that was like early PS2 or like late PS1.
It was like the beard was also still like part of the whole like face plate. It's like it was the beard, it was included, like had like flesh tone behind it. Where it was just not great.
That's a fun honestly, like, you know, I miss the old Harry Potter games from like, I think they made Harry Potter's 1 through 4 a video game, and then they just stopped making them because apparently they weren't selling well.
Who knew a movie-based video game isn't performing?
At the time, actually no, there still has yet to be.
They are historically,
they're bad
underperformers.
I don't know, man. Like, when for me, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, like, me being like, I think a 9-year-old Taco getting his first PS2, and that was the first game he ever got, just sitting there playing the stuff out of that game. I never had a memory card either, so it made it more fun. I would like sit in the game, play for about 10 hours, turn it off, all the progress would be deleted, and then I would just do it the next day because I didn't know what a memory card was.
So why didn't you at any point just leave it running like a normal person?
Because either my mom, my dad, or my brother would turn it off in the middle of the night.
Oh, so you just weren't ready for the heartbreak. I get it.
Yeah,
Right.
It was the same thing on Stort Little when I played the Stort Little 2 game. So, but yeah, memory card, very important when you get a PS2.
I was gonna check.
And now I know nowadays people or kids got, you know, the Nintendo Switch and the PS4 and PS5. It's got internal memory. You can just save it. I know that someone in the back's going, "Okay, Boomer Taco."
Oh yeah, so I was going and checking what the other like official updates were. So part of the map stuff is the biomes having an actual physical representation on the map, so it's not just, well, I assume I'm in a city biome, or when I'm in a forest, I sure hope this is a forest biome. Or I don't know where the water biome technically happens, but I know there's a Magikarp that always spawns here, and so that's just one of the other layers. And then the Kanto Pokemon on Earth Day.
Wasn't that like a 2018 feature? Like when the weather came out, like they're like introducing biomes.
Yeah, so they will officially have a more integrated feel with the map and the encounter screens. So you'll be able to tell when you go somewhere between what the map looks like, because they're going to have, I don't know if you've been to a place that has any of the stuff, but it has a whole bunch of extra little cues for you to tell what biome you're currently in, and that translates also to when you actually have a Pokemon encounter, like there will be an actual beach scene behind the Pokemon and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I haven't gotten that yet. Of course, my area, my biome is mainly going to be rural.
Yeah. Well, and that was only when I was going down into the downtown of San Diego specifically that I was seeing all of the kind of beta for this stuff. And
maybe
the last one is
I'll see it.
New Go Snapshot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it rolls out when I'm down in San Antonio, maybe I'll see the, city background. That'll be cool.
Yep, so that's all coming up in the next 3 weeks, so
I'm excited. Oh, actually one side thing also happened. So I was, Taco being Taco. I ordered some Pokemon cards. They'll be in next week.
I was like, and then?
Yeah, they'll be in next week. Because, of course, Taco plays the card game now.
So are you gonna have some TCG content for the YouTube?
Maybe. Also maybe like if and when I come back to streaming, I can, after I do my sets for GBL, I can do 5 matches of TCG to kind of get that engagement up.
Get all of the different venues going.
Yeah. We got some VG days, we got some TCG days. We got some Tacos Conspiracy Corner days,
That's every day.
Also I guess I've been playing a lot of Helldivers, so my tinfoil hat has been on because the whole community is kind of like speculating when the new enemy is supposed to drop. So, but yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you're having fun.
I gotta smile through it all because
yeah, the GBL with Jungle Cup has been mostly not great.
My friend texted me a picture of his team. He's running, and I gotta remember it. He is running the following team: Scrafty, Steelix, Ariados. Scrafty uses Power Up Punch and Acid Spray. Steelix uses Breaking Swipe and Psychic Fangs. And Ariados uses Lunge and Cross Poison. He went 5-0 because all of his opponents were rage quitting.
Well, that's a strategy, I guess. The one with Ariados, though, that a lot of, especially older players, don't respect is the fact that it got Trailblaze.
Yeah.
So
I told him about it.
Just the fact that it can be potentially deadly to Mud Boys, which are pretty popular. I have to give the nod that direction over the Cross Poison.
Yeah, I did tell him about it, and he just says, "Yeah, but Cross Poison gets stabbed." I said, "Hey, you do you, man. You do you." Okay.
Stab resist.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's time to get into the Battle Frontier scores. That's what everybody's here for.
The meat of the business.
Yeah. So, firstly, we had no updated usage, which is fine because it's there. Your pool of battlers goes from like this to this, or this. So, either which case, if we don't have an update, I'm not going to be too bad or feel too bad about it. But with that though, look at this. It's pretty. And before everybody starts, I purposely split the top and bottom parts of the Battle Frontier. It's going to just, move on over the scores will move on over in a couple of minutes. Just because, the thing, not the thing, but the standings just, it looked very clunky, and I did not like it. So if I get rid of my webcam, you can see the rest of it. If you're from 9th place on, we're not going to talk about you much. I'm sorry.
I mean, unless we specifically are looking at your matchup, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably the only time, because top 8 mainly top 4 goes into the very top 2 teams, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so looking at the scores.
It's scores time.
Yes. So we had Inferno Overdrive defeating Team Beginner and Winner 16-5. That was, I had that wrong.
That one is a pretty big statement. I mean, and it's not alone, right?
Correct. Yeah, there was a lot of statement wins and statement there's just a lot of statement wins that popped off, and that matchup itself. I didn't think it would be that close, because here I thought Team Beginner and Winner was going to just breeze through, but I guess Inferno Overdrive said, "Nuh-uh."
Yeah, they're making a name for themselves right out the gate, and maybe they took advantage of the fact that everyone just assumed, "Oh yeah, Beginner to Winner's back. They're going to do the thing."
That's true. So, congrats to Inferno Overdrive defeating Beginner and Winner. Our next matchup, we had Bad Mewtwo's against SoCal Swablu. I think that's gold. Gold. There's so many SoCal teams.
Which Swablu is this?
This is the gold one.
Yeah.
So SoCal Swablu Gold defeats Bad Mewtwo's 9-12. Although Bad Mewtwo's, this I kind of had saw from the get-go, because Gold is a very, very strong team, and Bad Mewtwo's kind of was an open team itself. And I think they kind of had the benefit of playing a quote-unquote weaker pool that just kind of let them, steamroll everyone. So the 9-12, although it was close, I will definitely say that 100% it's close. But I had a feeling that Gold was going to take this one.
For what it's worth, it is an actual upset.
Yeah. I do want to also point out, I think Inferno Overdrive, based off of the awesome article that Greg had written, or not Greg written, that Greg posted on the Battle Frontier website, Inferno Overdrive has some Sub-Zero members, so they are definitely a very, very strong group of trainers that I honestly overlooked, and I apologize for it.
Yeah, it's not like they had a walk in the park through pool 1, right? But now you're with all the big kids.
Yep. Time to put up or shut up. This next matchup, we had Pogoats defeating SoCal Swablu Blue. That score was 15-6. Pogoats looks like to honestly easily cruised onto this one. We had sweeps in the Ultra League. Yeah, we only had... Oh, and in the Primordial slot 1. So 2 sweeps was able to get them over the hump. And then we had Elite TMs, doing what Elite TMs does best and absolutely dominating A9 Elites.
Well, and we knew A9 is like they're gonna get beat up on. It is the design of this type of playoff where, and I have voiced my displeasure with how it's essentially set up to do that.
Yeah.
Where I much prefer the Silph version where top plays middle rather than top plays bottom, but hear that you're lucky to be included, I guess, is the bottom line. And I hope they survive the beating that is coming to them.
Yeah.
Because it is unlikely to improve as they go. And of course this next week is more evidence of that, right? Like we'll get to it, but point being, whoever they play with their same record is going to be the top team with that record.
Yeah. Wait. No, it goes by top seed.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
is it by initial seed? So
I see. Okay, now I see what you mean.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll probably get into that one in a little bit. I do want to give a shout out to RGR though for taking a game off of an elite TM, at least 1 point away. He accounted for 25% of that entire team points that week. Good on you. But unfortunately, it was just sweeps all around, and that's usually how it goes when you're fighting up against an absolute juggernaut that is elite TMs.
And we saw them do that to teams even in Emerald, so it's not just because that they're playing like kind of a mix of teams. Still, that's just what they do to everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Now the slideshow has moved on over for a little bit, so we can go talk about this one. This is probably the biggest upset that I'm going to talk about. We had Born from Ashes beating Cool Cats 16-5. Wow.
Yeah, and when you take a look at some of the people who not only got beaten but got swept, like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I do also want to do a quick aside. Born from Ashes was an APAC Emerald team. So I guess I wasn't giving enough respect on Born from Ashes as I probably should have been. They all have shut me up pretty well.
Yeah, they came out big, and this is also surprising just because Cool Cats has been kind of in the position of having something to prove ever since King of the Hill, and maybe that was it, right? Like they kind of went ham on King of the Hill, and we're just like, okay, now we can maybe not go as hard. But yeah, that when it comes down to, okay, but now you're actually playing for which of the tiers you're gonna end up in, like it feels weird.
Yeah, and I would say I do also want to point out Cool Cats actually finished second in King of the Hill. So what's the word? I had pegged them as the winners of King of the Hill. I don't remember who won King of the Hill.
Was it one of those eat pasta people?
Probably. But that's old news at this point.
Yeah. That's a couple cycles back.
Yeah. Back in the quote-unquote olden days. So, with that though, the next matchup we had Swablu on Swablu Violence, and San Diego did not disappoint against Coastal.
There was I was catching up on the podcast that I missed, and there was all sorts of San Diego slander going on, and I'm glad I let them just do the talking for me, because man, what a start to playoffs.
Well, I guess it just kind of goes to show you that if you want to bring out, the teams, just slander a little bit.
Yeah, keep calling them the C team. That'll do.
I only called them the C team until it was then clarified, like, oh, it wasn't. But then, like, for me to keep track of it, it was SoCal, San Diego, whatever. I'm not walking back my comment on it.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, especially with their next round opponent, as we'll get to shortly. It is really one of those. Okay, you've set the bar for yourself. Let's see what happens next.
Yeah, that's gonna be a little on the scary side per se. Oh goodness! Oh, the slideshow went back. Get back here! Boop. There we are.
But yeah, now we also have to see how Coastal
rebounds
deals with the in-house going that poorly.
Yep. And then, finally we had LU Origins go up against Antimatter Go. This one, I think, was a lot closer than it needed to be. I kind of thought LU Origins was going to run away with it a little bit better, but 11-10. Who's on that team, or who played this week?
They did at least help you get an 11-10 on the board somewhere.
Yeah,
because if you don't count them, the average score of the week was closer to 17.
It was very much a topsy-turvy.
Like, I mean, you might have been able to call out some of these wins, but I don't think anyone would have seen them going quite so polarized in the first week.
Especially from a 3 seed and a 12 seed. Like, you had the winner of a pool going up against the second place team in another pool, and you make it that close. It almost makes you wonder if those two teams had been in the same... Wait, no, they were in the same pool. Weren't they?
Now I need to look.
I'm checking now. I can't let... This is going to bother me. I think it was pool number 6. Nope. Pool number 5. Yeah, they were. They were in the exact same...
So they got to run it back.
They did. And the first time they played, it was 13-8. So Antimatter Go made it closer in the rematch, but still came up just short. Pool number 5, despite it having a bye per se, you still had teams like Weekend at Bernie's and Griever Underdogs fall just short. Anyway, that's pool number 5. We're not here to talk about we're here to talk about the playoffs, baby.
Well, it was relevant because it was a rematch. It was the one rematch.
Yes. Which sets up nicely into this is what our standings are now going to look like. I'll remove my webcam for just a hot second. There we go. Our standings look like this, 7 teams 1-0, 7 teams 0-1. Yay. And, Elite Teams hasn't been sitting at rank number 1 yet for a while. Or this is the first time I think Elite Teams hasn't been sitting at number 1 after the first week. So, new territory for them. Ooh.
Well, and just to kind of follow up on your comments on LU, like, those 11 points aren't going to matter for their matchups just because they're based on seed until the end, but it could very well matter when it actually comes down to placement at the end, right? Mm-hmm. So I wonder how they're going to be feeling about this win after a couple more rounds.
Yeah, and kind of looking at, I'm going to put my webcam back on now. There we go. To kind of looking on it, I'm looking at the highest seed plays like the lowest seed and this and that.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, really, really weird. Because, going into round number 2, you have Elite TMs fighting Born from Ashes. And then Pogoats gets SoCal Swablu Gold. And then we have LU Origins gets to battle Inferno Overdrive. You would think, like, SoCal Swablu San Diego gets to kind of sneak right in and, maybe, quote-unquote, get a 0-1 team, a good 0 or a quote-unquote easy 0-1 team to beat. Nah, they get the Cool Cats.
Well, yeah, you get the highest seed 0-1 team, which is one of those, like, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Because unlike this is the caliber of team that they want to be playing anyway, obviously, right? Like but now they get to play the Cool Cats, who you would think by taking that 1-0, you were safe from playing the 0-1, but that is just the nature of having 14 teams. Is after that initial division, then you have an odd number, so you gotta pick up whoever the quote unquote best loser was, and here we are.
Yep. And I would not want to be the Cool Cats opponent this week.
Yeah, and that's the other part, is I know it's gonna be crazy, right? Because they're not gonna be happy about it. They're gonna be out for blood.
Oh, 100%.
And I mean, before we get into the last couple matchups, I do just want to say too, I wonder how much having 2 weeks was a factor in round 1. Like, kind of on some of these, I do honestly wonder if it was just like a case of having enough rope to hang yourself with, where I know some of the teams were kind of quietly doing their matches or whatever and just waiting to report scores, but I also it just also felt like they took a lot more time to play their matches in the first place. Like, essentially a week in, I think maybe I saw one score posted where it was like, okay. And again, like, maybe more of, like, I assume many more of them were played than that, but it was just kind of a curiosity, right? Is are we going to see less chaos when we're back to a single week format? Because when you change the timeline, I feel like that messes with people and with teams, especially because it's not as thrilling, maybe.
Yeah.
You don't have the stress.
No, and I wouldn't say there's really, like, so much that could have been done, because you had the largest European tournament the first week. And
don't get me wrong, right? Like, I know there were a ton of events. I know it made sense timeline wise anyway. Mm-hmm. It's just I'm wondering if the reality had an effect just because it was 2 weeks. Like, that is a non-standard bout length, right?
Yeah, especially with, I guess, maybe some teams use the time in scrimmage more than others, because instead of having like the normal 4 days, they had 10.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is I am wondering if you can kind of recreate that outside of the vacuum where this feels like a situation where, okay, there were a couple that went about how you might expect, but for the ones that didn't, I am tempted to assume there was just that much more focus on the scrims, right? On turning it into as much of a zero sum as possible.
Yeah, and honestly, at this one or this next week, I think now that round 2 and they're kind of getting back into the week long or the weekly ones versus like the bi-weekly, yeah. We'll kind of see like which teams can now, either shake off the round 1 loss or continue to, build that momentum that they had in round number 1. So I would say this might be the quote unquote true round 1 per se. The wake up call's over.
Yeah. It's like, oh crap, we're playing again. It's like when you forget that you've hit the search for battle button in GBL and you look down and your Pokemon's half dead.
Oh, yeah, I hate when that happens. All right, so for round number 2, well, I already talked about the first 2 matchups. The last matchups, we have Bad Mewtwo's going up against A9 Elites. That's probably going to be the most balanced team for right now, maybe. Like, just for round number 2.
I would again suspect this is going to be a bit of a blowout on the side of Bad Mewtwo's. Like, obviously, A9 is here. They have opportunities to announce themselves to the world, but I feel pretty strongly that they're gonna be in the beatdown seat again, especially since Bad Mewtwo's is coming off an upset.
Do you think that they'll be like the Thunder Squirrels of our first cycle when they just went 0-4 and ended up in ace tier? Because the unfortunate part is there is going to be a team that is 0-4.
Well, and that's what I was referring to when I said like this is what this playoff format is built for. It's built to reinforce the seeding, right? Like it is meant to take the bottom team, and unless they outperform their record, like keep them there. And the same goes for the top. And then the most balanced matches are going to be in the middle.
I agree. But there are so many good matchups this week. Like I next week I want to do a deep dive into the Elite TMs Born from Ashes matchup. I want to do a deep dive in the San Diego versus Cool Cats matchup. Those are like the 2 game of the weeks I want to do a deep dive on, but I guess whichever team is closer, we'll do a deep dive on. That sounds more than fair, right?
Our last couple will also be. I use the word interesting a lot, but I earnestly mean it here, especially when it comes to beginner to winner playing SoCal Swablu Blue, because again, you have beginner to winner. Hopefully they've gotten their wake up call, and we'll see what we get out of Blue, right? Like to me, Blue is the question mark on the Swablu roster.
Really?
Yeah. And then we already talked about it a little bit, but Swablu Coastal taking on Antimatter Go, and just again seeing how Coastal does after getting a few of their bones broken. Hopefully not their spirits.
I was like, a few other bones broken is a little bit of an understatement. But yeah, the unfortunate part, and this is something that kind of you opened the door for, so I'll chat about this a little bit, is when a team loses that badly, it's almost like the morale on the team can essentially plummet.
Yep.
We've been there before on Dino Don't Care, and we lost the Battle Bills team 16-5. Which, it didn't seem too bad, but, morale kind of fell a little bit, and we took it out on the next team. Sorry, Masubi. Wherever you are, you're fighting sushi. But, however, I think Coastal, despite the fact they only put 3 points on the board, they can kind of come out swinging and kind of walk around with a chip on their shoulder like, nobody thought we'd be here, and kind of rally around that. I don't know, that's just me.
It's one of those, it's totally up to them, right? Like, they proved to themselves in the pools, right? The one everyone is still going to talk about and kind of point at is taking Pogoats to a 1-point bout. But yeah, now well, we get to see who's showing up.
Yeah. I think I made a comment about Pogoats, like, sometimes they may like do really, really well, and other times they kind of just struggle a little bit. I'm not really seeing like that quote unquote. Obviously they're consistent because they keep winning, but sometimes if they continue to blow teams out of the water, like this one in particular, they beat Blue. Now they get to play Gold, which I think they fought before. And I'll probably ask MJ if he ever comes back on the show. I think this might be a rematch from like rivalry days way back when. We might have to keep an eye on this matchup too. We're just gonna deep dive into all the matchups next week.
Well, yeah, we'll have at least a bit of a pulse on them. I'm hoping that we get more scores throughout the week. Like, I hope save your scores till the end isn't like just a cultural thing / what they've been asked to do on purpose, because that takes one more layer like out of just like the tension of the actual bout, right? Like, just the fact that we don't get to have any of the playback of what the score got to before it was actually decided.
There was also a lot of disputes that were happening. Some were warranted, others why?
I'm not surprised, right? Like, this is the part that matters, right? Like, this is when you're as a captain, like you want to show up for your team, right? So make sure they're getting their best shot.
Yep.
But yeah, were there any, like, even if they weren't like full bouts, like at least a few matchups that you wanted to look at, since we haven't done very many of those recently?
It's true. I don't want to touch LU Origins and Antimatter because there was a dispute on that one, even though that was the closest.
Do you want to look at Bad Mewtwo's and Gold?
Yeah, let's look at that upset. Okay. I know I didn't take the pretty pictures out because, yeah, I didn't. Just got to follow along.
We'll describe it to you.
So, in the Great League, we had Country Nerd 24 going up against Mark Danger. Country Nerd brought Shadow Whiscash, Mandibuzz, Venusaur, Skeledirge, Galarian Weezing, and Surfetch'd. into Mark Danger's Wigglytuff, Shadow Machamp, Dugong, Quagsire, Kofagrigus, and Mandibuzz.
Shadow Quag.
Oh, Shadow Quag, excuse me. Mark Danger was able to take a 3-0 sweep over Country Nerd. And I think that Shadow Wigglytuff had... Shadow Wigglytuff. That would just... No, I would quit playing Pogo when that happens.
I mean, don't speak it into existence, but you know, it's probably coming, right?
Unfortunately. So I kind of looking at this team, you know, Wigglytuff covers 2 Pokemon pretty well. Machamp covers... Well, it's there. Yeah, I guess Rock Slide for that Skeledirge Mandibuzz coverage. Dugong can cover...
Yeah, Machamp is actually kind of a dead weight here, huh?
Yeah. Dugong can hit Venusaur and Mandibuzz for super effective damage, but you do have to watch out for Frenzy Plant from Venusaur. And that Drill Run can still hit Galarian Weezing and Skeledirge.
Yeah, Dugong is actually looking really strong.
Quagsire, you had to have at least put either Aqua Tail and Stone Edge. I think that was the most... Let's operate on that moveset in particular. Because I don't see Aqua Tail doing much in this match in particular.
Oh, so you're saying not
Aqua
Aqua
wait.
Tail.
Sorry. Mud Bomb. I meant... Well... No, I don't see Mud Bomb and Earthquake doing much of anything. I'll say Aqua Tail, Stone Edge.
I mean, the ground gives you super effective into the Weezing.
Right. Weezing's poison.
And you're only 1 off on the Mud Bomb cycle, like 1 extra compared to the Aqua Tail every 2. So like even in Skeledirge, it's not that different.
Alright, we're gonna throw out Aqua Tail. And then Kofagrigus. You gotta stay away from Mandibuzz, but everything else looks...
Yeah, Kofa also decently safe. Like, the Dirge timing can be weird, right?
Yeah, you get 2 Shadow Claws. You get 2 Shadow Claws for 1 Incinerate, and you'll be in the animation.
2.5.
Yeah, you'll be in the animation for the 3rd one. So 2 Incinerate. 3 after 3 Incinerates, you will have... That's 15 turns. You'll have 7.5 Shadow Claws. Can Kofagrigus throw a Dark Pulse at 7?
If not the first, definitely the second, right?
Yes. Well, because it can get the Shadow Ball and...
Yeah, sorry, it's 7-6. So, yeah. You're in the clear for that. But like I said, it's more about playing the bait game then, right? In the shield scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Shadow Claws add up. And it's nice having something even that safe. Like obviously the Mandibuzz is a problem, and then Mark Danger's Mandy is also pretty safe, apart from the Galarian Weezing. So there's a few of these that are looking pretty deadly, right?
I would probably say Mark Danger's team. Mark Danger's team is also, I think you said this, was more flexible and can cover over Country Nerd. That was probably more lineup dependent.
Right. Well, and especially once you get to the point where you can't reliably cover 2 Pokemon with any line. like that. Oh man, I've been in a few of those. It's really tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so... I really like how, and I mean, this is obvious in general from any amount of open that you play. Just Dugong right now is so good anyway, but when you're up against a team like this is just like Dugong gets to show off now.
Dugong can go burr. Unfortunately. Okay.
So yeah, even when you have, even when you're like in a situation where you're 5v6 because your Machamp isn't doing a whole lot, like you got more than enough going for you there.
Yeah. Alrighty, so for the Enchanted Field, we had Yuri Avenger go up against Darth Ferret. Yuri brings Jellicent, Skeledirge, Licky Licky, Double, Galarian Weezing, and Blastoise. And Darth Ferret brings Galarian Weezing, Excadrill, Drapion, Blastoise, Miltank, and Skeledirge. So we had... So yeah, both of them brought Blastoise, both of them bring Skeledirge. Both of them bring separate normal types, which I find a little...
You also have Weezing in the mirrored between the two teams.
Oh yeah, I forgot to call that one out. In this one in particular, I liked how Darth Ferret was trying to use Excadrill, but I think, with Skeledirge, the overheat potential from Galarian Weezing, the Surf, and the double kicks from Double, and Blastoise, it was kind of just dead weight, sadly.
I was gonna look what you're trying to catch with Excadrill. The Galarian Weezing, I guess, outside of overheat. Well, and just any of the poison darks, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Shadow, right? Yeah, no.
No, it is not. I mean, Drapion kind of does Excadrill's job a little better. And he doesn't have a steel weakness. It's like Aqua Tail and I think Crunch would be the play in this one. So Aqua Tail, Crunch, you hurt Skeledirge and Jellicent, you can at least get a debuff chance on Licky Licky and Double. Or actually, you're hitting everything for neutral or better with that moveset. Excadrill he gets Mud Shot, right?
Yeah.
Or is it Mud Flat? Okay. So Excadrill with Mud Shot, you can, of course, Galarian Weezing gets Fairy Wind, so it's an even trade there. Skeledirge, after 3 Incinerates, you're pretty much essentially at half health, aren't you?
Oh, you're just talking about Excadrill, yeah.
Yeah, in particular.
It looks like the one shield favors Excadrill barely, but not by a lot.
Yeah, you are over half health. Over half health has gone after 3 Incinerates.
Yeah. So it's not a great matchup. It's a lot of fast move pressure.
Yeah, then you've got the Brutal Swing on the Galarian Weezing. Once again, can still hit Jellicent and Skeledirge. I mean, props to Darth Ferret for pulling a win out of what seems to be certain defeat, but I think that...
Hold on, what are you seeing as... I was gonna say that in general, to me, Enchanted is just always such a slugfest. Like, it's hard to call, like, even between the things that are different, right? Like, because Yuri has the double normal ghost, but I feel like the Shadow Drapion is fine. Like that, like it's just such a perfect pivot into this team because there's not like firm counter to it.
Isn't Blastoise, or excuse me, wouldn't Blastoise be Drapion counter because of, like, you're essentially at nearly level 50. Oh no, it's a lot closer than I thought. You're going straight crunch. Okay. Never mind. I was expecting Blastoise to do a lot more damage.
I really like on Yuri's side, just because we haven't called it out, and it's one of the things that is different between the two teams is the double.
That's true.
Especially because as far as the normals go, when you have one that doesn't do great into the opposing normal and one that does, I feel like I tend to lean toward the better in the mirror, even if it means like you're a little worse into the ghost. But
that's right. Okay. It's probably been a while since I've looked at matchups from Enchanted. The way I was looking at it was like Yuri's team could have very easily swept Darth's team, but then you did call out the Shadow Drapion that would just be so strong into it. So I take back.
And I guess if you want to like point at one thing that would give Yuri an edge, it's just across the board, like you're looking at just Skeletor, just kind of the squishy member of the team. Everything else is pretty tanky, and Darth's team has Excadrill, Skeledirge, and then like Drapion is kind of like on the edge, even where you just don't have as much soak potential is kind of what I'm gonna call it in the neutral situations. Like I like Darth's situation on typings and on like individual matchups, but when you have the slugfest that is Enchanted, like there's just so many charge moves. The games can very easily go to timer.
That's fair.
Yeah. But
okay.
Yeah, Darth is one of my guys I played with quite a bit in Sylph, so I love to see him pop up and pull out a win.
Gotcha. All right. Let us move on over to the Master League, where we had Charlie. Charlie.
Yep.
Against Mystic Mamba 24. So Charlie brings Mega Aggron, Therian Landorus, regular Palkia, Metagross, Ursaluna, and Primarina. And Mystic Mamba brings Mewtwo, Dialga, Mega Ampharos, Swampert, Gyarados, and Primarina.
And you sounded slightly surprised by the regular Palkia, but I think this is one of those where it comes down to being a points game, right?
Yeah. I guess I'm just not used to seeing regular Palkia in the Master League often. At least in this case, like you have Swampert, you have Gyarados, and you have Primarina on Mystic Mamba's side. 3 different water types that do 3 different things. The Dragon Breath Gyarados, as long as it's not lined up against Mega Aggron or Primarina, it's doing damage.
Well, and the other oddness just of this particular pairing is that we have the only Mirrormon is Primarina. Like I don't know that happens super often.
Nope. It sure doesn't. I'm used to seeing Gyarados or like Therian Landorus being on the teams, but
yeah.
No, they innovated. They really much innovated.
Yeah, Landorus is just so good.
Yeah. That Sandsear Storm really really buffed it. Really, really buffed it.
Well, and it's tough, but this is one of those situations where it's almost like was 3 water types enough, or yeah.
I mean, I think the Mega Ampharos hurt the team more than it helped it this time because, you got the Volt Switch, but you add a Dragon subtyping, and Palkia normally runs Dragon Breath. You're getting deleted. And the Charlie's Primarina can run Charm because nothing resists Charm on Mystic Mamba's side. Versus, like, Mystic Mambas can run Waterfall?
I mean, that is a good point, right? The only thing you're missing out on is the Palkia coverage, but maybe with this setup, you're pretty disinclined to bring Palkia anyway. So yeah, I like the call of the Waterfall Primarina.
Yeah, so in this case, you're just... I don't know. I'm kind of looking at, like, Charlie's team looks like it was set up really well to counter the Dragons and Gyarados. But then there's that pesky little Swampert that's, like, right there that can hit the Aggron, Metagross, or Therian Landorus, and Ursaluna for for super effective damage, essentially.
Yeah. I was curious, so that was actually one of the ones I was looking at, is the Swampert versus the Lando T. It looks like you need one Mudshot head start as the Lando to win that, like to flip that, which is not super comfortable. And Lando does win the 2s. Oh man, it's just tough when you know that, like, you need 2 Hydros to knock out and your fast moves are doing nothing. So it's spooky, even if it is like a good matchup on paper, right?
Yeah, Swampert, I'm just, simulating through some... What's the word? I'm simulating through some... whatever. And... Ooh. Swampert's just eating through, like, can easily eat through 4 of Charlie's Mons. But
you kind of have to pick one of them, though, right? like
yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. You beat the Lando, but then you're double debuffed going into whatever's after that. And that's if they decide not to double shield.
Maybe Swampert had too much to do, and that's why it hurt. But props to Charlie for taking a 2-1 on this one, because this very easily could have been a Mystic Mamba sweep. I said it.
Well, and to me, it's still just a... Man, that Lando T, though. Like, that aspect of it isn't surprising, but yeah, if anyone was going to have the tools, I feel like bringing triple water should make a difference, right?
Nah, wasn't happening.
And yeah, well, and it's one of those, like, okay, so if you do go all in on the triple water, what do you do against the Primarina? Because then that's kind of the outlier, right? It's like, oh yeah, I can deal with the 4 others, but then Primarina.
Primarina hits the field and I just lose.
Well, and it's one of those, like, okay, so is Dialga enough? Like, does that do it, or is Primarina like good enough into that? Yeah, so it's a close one. So I don't even. Oh,
Are you looking at it with Charm, or are you looking at it with Waterfall?
with Charm.
Yeah, it's very close. With
You
Waterfall,
you
it's still
just
close.
straight Charm. So what's the dedicated like Primarina answer then? Because Ampharos is taking like the Mewtwo, I guess. You just save the Mewtwo for the Primarina.
There is none. Put Thunderbolt on Mewtwo or something like. Just yeah.
No, Mewtwo is pretty convincing. So, but that is also like the one answer, right? Like Dialga is kind of a wash at best in the one shield. So we're back in one of those situations where you have one answer.
And once
like,
that answer is gone, that's
outside,
it.
like,
It's over.
And maybe that's enough reason to not do the Waterfall Primarina and just save it for the mirror. Also, so like that can be a literal wash.
I hate that joke, but
But yeah, because otherwise that's just so tough to have to line up a specific Pokemon. And then that's just like a classic case of tunnel vision, right?
yeah.
But yeah, we spent a long time on that, so let's jump through the Serenes.
All right, I'm not gonna spend too much time on the Serene slots. I'm just gonna call out. I'm gonna say the names and then call out an interesting Mon per se, because yeah. So bad Mewtwo's, we had 00 Superman going up against Flying Pizza. Want to call out Superman's Noctowl and Quagsire, a different type of mud boy.
Yeah, the Shadow Quag has been at top of the rankings for a while, and it sims super well. So it's cool to see someone pulling it off. Like, it has been less popular, especially compared to Whiscash. I feel like has been the Serene mud boy in general, especially offering the debuff stuff. But
yeah,
Quag.
I think that's why Whiscash.
Quag on top.
Yeah, I think that's why you have Whiscash kind of being so successful, because of that, like you said, that Scald debuff potential. Quagsire just kind of does its own thing, but it has access to nuke moves that Whiscash does not have access to. So, with that, I'm going to move on to the second Serene slot. So, we had Kid Goku from Bad Mewtwo's go up against Cyrino. Cyrino was able to take a 2-1 over Kid Goku. And we do see a double normal, double water, and double psychic. Oh, duh. I'm going to call it the double normal in particular because you have Alolan Raticate and female Oinkologne. Of course, female Oinkologne gets access to Trailblaze, so, Whiscash, bye-bye. Azumarill, you're not outlasting it. And Jellicent, eventually you will get tackled down.
Well, and on Cyrino's team, you have the infamous combo of the Defense Deoxys Mew, and then you're kind of default support staff.
Yeah. Okay.
And you didn't have great targets on the Kid Goku side for their Alolan Raichu, so I feel like that can be a bummer for the Raichu teams, is when it's like, okay, well, I can aim it for Deoxys and Azu. Is that worth it?
No. you're essentially playing 5-on-6, and as somebody that got swept, it's not a good sight.
That was only after sweeping though, so I mean at least you're evened out.
It balances out. Alright, so Primordial. For bad Mewtwo's, we had Kumgamath versus 2000 Red. So we have Charjabug, Dragonair, Golisopod, Drapion, Sableye, and Goodra on the bad Mewtwo side versus Goodra, Cradily, Milotic, Auroras, Hisuian Quillfish, and Charjabug.
No Sudowoodo to be seen.
That is probably the most surprising thing.
And only one Cradily. No rock type at all for bad Mewtwo's. That's actually insane.
So we have with that we do also have the Dragonair making, we had double Dragon Breath, which is a very interesting combination. Despite the fact that we have a Dragon counter, a Pseudo Dragon in Milotic, and a Dagger Breath user. All in all, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's an unusual one. Like there are a lot of the top picks in here, but just the fact that Sudowoodo is conspicuously absent.
This is the Sudowoodo field.
Yeah. Well, it is Sudowoodo Crad is just kind of your 1-2 in team builds historically for this, so
Cradowoodo.
Apparently they were all done with that. They're doing something else.
Yeah. What do we call that core? Cradily Sudowoodo. Bruto. Pseudo Dilly.
I guess we get it right back though in the Primordial 2 slot.
Yeah. Alright, so we had Pulsinair from Bad Mewtwo's going up against SoCal Swab Gold with Drayflames. Drayflames swept this one, but I'm still going to go over the teams. We had second verse, same as the first, with Bad Mewtwo's. Cradily, Goodra, Barbaracle, Sudowoodo, Arctibax, and Snorlax. When I say
There's
second verse...
There's nothing the same about the second verse.
I'm talking about the double Dragon Breath users.
Okay.
So, you gotta give me some credit. Drayflames brings a more meta line of Sudowoodo, Cradily, Milotic, Goodra, Charjabug, and Aurora. This one in particular, it's pretty plug and play. For Drayflame side, at least.
Both of the Swablues go and Charge Auroras. I kind of like...
It just works.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just works. So now we're gonna... Yeah, so congrats to Drayflames for the sweep.
The snowball. Yeah. And that made... Yeah, that could have made the difference for the whole thing, right? Like, it was a 3-point bout, so...
Yeah. So whether it was the first match or the last match, SoCal Swallow Gold was able to take the win on that. So, congrats. So, with those matchups wrapped up, a little bit of a deep dive, and our previews, it's time to take a quick commercial break. I just realized since we switched to video, I may have to animate commercial breaks.
I still think you should just get like one of those desk toys, like the little like cheapy bird.
Oh, you know what? I think that's a good thought. I'll try to pick one up in San Antonio.
just a little bit of filler nonsense for.
Please be right back.
The in between.
Alrighty, so we are, like I said before, we're going to take a really, really quick commercial break, but we'll be right back after these messages.
Stretch time.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break, because I know I did.
It was necessary, as always.
Yeah, always gotta stretch your legs out, because, sitting at your desk at a computer screen for a long time can very hurt your eyes. Always remember, take good walks, step away from your desk, maybe go on a run or two if you can.
Yeah, just in case you don't have one of those annoying wrist reminders to get up every hour. Do it.
Yeah. I thought that like my knees would be in better shape since I started like riding my bike everywhere, but it's not a real substitute for walking or running.
Well, and more than anything, it's really doing mobility stuff, right? Like even walking and running, like any cardio you do, if you're still just doing the same motion all the time is not it's good to be doing the exercise, like, period, like, good, first of all, good job. But yeah, if you're looking at joint health in particular, then yeah, the mobility stuff is super important.
Yeah. All right. Now with the exercise portion of the podcast taken care of, we're going to use this part to plug our socials. We do have a YouTube channel, so insert like, comment, subscribe, ring notification bell for that fun jazz. Because now we're on YouTube. We are Enter the Dragonair's Den. That's our channel. We are currently sitting at 22 subscribers. So thank you all so much for subscribing. It really does mean the most. And we really hope that... Yeah, I know. I'm going to sound like every other YouTuber ever.
Well, I'm giggling because I subscribed after last time, and it was funny when I went to my YouTube dashboard to see like my face on the TV. I was like, oh, that's weird.
Look, Mom, I'm famous.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's a thing now.
Like I said, it really does mean the most. Subscriber means number go up, and my RuneScape brain, when I see a number go up, I get very happy because dopamine, yay. But like I said before, it really does mean a lot. We really hope that we can give out put out some amazing content for everybody, because Pokemon Go is fun. I still like playing it.
Even though he threatens to quit.
I think I'm at that part of the Pokemon Go PvP player's life cycle where you just
the roller coaster experience.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm gonna be like, maybe when the season starts in August, I'll be like going back up. We do also have a Twitter, or an X. You can follow us. We are at Dragonair Den. Follow the show, and the social media manager will eventually start posting again. I fed him carrots. Hopefully now he'll... He didn't like carrots, but that's all we had. I couldn't pay him the gummy bears.
Well, I mean, it's funnier for me to imagine the social media manager being a creature that would enjoy carrots. So it's just like, oh yes, the horse in charge of the Twitter account.
So yeah, you can follow and get updates on the show, as well as our team, Diener Don't Care and the Dark Knights, or the Dark Knight, excuse me. They are the sister team of Diener Don't Care. We do also want to plug our new portion of the show. We have the EMEA team. We also have the APAC team and the LATAM teams. Those episodes will be coming out soon. Probably going to be after the playoffs, where we're going to be talking, just kind of giving our thoughts on the tiers. It's going to be a great episode. Working with time zones is going to be very difficult, though. For me.
Yeah. Well, I'm already like a little sad that I can't listen in on the LATAM episodes in a real way. Just because I feel like they're going to be super interesting, where it's just like, oh, but...
Yeah. Download Duolingo on your phone. Get to at least level 30.
It's so much.
Yeah, you know what they say. It's either Spanish or vanish.
I've never heard that before.
So real quick, there was a Duolingo, like it would send you periodic notifications, and one person screen caught when Duolingo sent that. It's like, it's time for your Spanish lesson. It's time for your Spanish lesson. And one of it said, with Duolingo, it's simple. It's Spanish or it's Spanish, which it was talking about. It was talking about if they didn't do their Spanish lesson, Duolingo was gonna like vanish from sending the notifications out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, some kind of like lose their imaginary progress or whatever, right?
Yeah. But that part just like stuck with me, and so now it sounds like it's Spanish or vanish, and I'll kind of like chuckle.
It's a little too good.
Where was I? So, oh yes, Discord. We also do have a Discord that'll be down in the description, show notes, where you can join us, have some fun, hang out, meet the hosts, answer the weekly questions, and also look at pictures of dogs or pets in general, because we like those.
One of us is on the coast.
And then, so yeah, that is honestly all the socials I have at this point. Oh, Patreon. That's like the big one. I gotta remember that one.
those patron people.
We also do have a Patreon where you can support the show for as little as $1. Granting, supporting the show gets you access to, getting your name shouted out, as well as once you hit the $5 tier, you get to jump in the recording booth chat and fact check us in real time. And before anyone asks, I've already turned off the permissions to talk in the recording booth chat. There is one of our co-hosts that is also a Patreon member. I wonder if the roles are gonna clash. It's gonna be a fun time. We do also want to take this time to thank our $1 Dragon Egg patrons. We have Thanks Obama, ZT Smith, Sotiri, and DeFi250. At the Baby Dragon tier, we have Reviving Ophelia and Herm. That is the one that gets you access to the recording booth chat, and everybody's amazing, pledges help us keep the digital lights on. And it, like I said before, I'm going to sound like a broken record saying this, it's probably my new favorite saying. It really does mean the most. Like, makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And I hope that one day at least we can go out and to like local communities, like Giant Go Fest, LA or LA West Coast tour, and meet up with y'all. All right, that's all I got.
Good job, Taco.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll write a script for it. No. I like speaking from the heart. I'll sound a little rambly.
Yeah, having a list is pretty good, but yeah.
I like speaking from the heart. It's more like,
Did we have community engagement question stuff, or not really?
So the community engagement section was, which team will you be following in the playoffs? Of course, everybody asked the questions that you had asked while we were recording the next day. So we had one answer on Spotify, on Discord, because then it just turned into we missed out on the playoffs by 1 or 2 wins. But it's from our friend of the show, Naked Hornet. After you had sent a list of the teams, the Naked Hornet gave us some insight and said, there's point-proven talent in this group with several former Emerald mainstays that seem all but guaranteed to tell a few teams, thanks for keeping our seats warm and return to the top. It'll be interesting to see that different landscape as Sky Dragons and LU Emperors return to EU and Apocalypse's return to LATAM opens more competitive spots in Champion. Fast Track to Legendary and Champion won't put all of them at the top right away, but the most interesting thing to me will be the idea that these teams will enter as possible favorites to win the lower tiers, where some of the teams in them couldn't have mustered 6 6-1 in pools. It's going to be a big shock to the system. I could not agree more. You know, a lot of the newer teams, per se, always would say, you know, if Self never shut down, we would be at the top and we'd kick you guys back down. Here's your time to prove it. And if there's anything that has been kind of on display is the Emerald Mainstays, or the Emerald Mainstay teams have kind of risen to the top. They're up there for a reason. Now the question is, can they stay up there? And only time will tell on that one. So that was the only answer that we had gotten. So we are gonna keep that question. We're gonna keep that question going for another week. Who are you gonna be following in the playoffs? Mainly because
it's so hard not to just say yes, all of them.
You gotta pick one.
They actually all fit on one page now. It's not as difficult to follow them.
Look here, I'm gonna turn off my camera real quick, and then I'm gonna pull it up one last time just for everybody. These are your choices. Oh wait, camera turn off.
And the logo.
There we go. So these are the.
I can do mine too.
Oh, my cards just arrived.
Noise. Alright, I'm back.
My cards came in. Neat. Wait, which one? I'm gonna open it. Oh wait, I gotta turn my camera back on. All right, it's gonna be an unboxing. Ooh.
Now we blocked it.
I almost showed my home address on.
You almost doxed yourself. Good job.
I promise. I can't open packages now. All right, what did I order? I can't open. Oh, here we go. They make these packages taco proof, and I don't like it. All right, so this is the. Heck yeah! All right. Oh, they gave me one. Neat. They gave me a full art Irida. There we go.
Cool.
I don't remember ordering the full art. I thought I had ordered the normal one, but I was wondering why am I paying $10 for a card?
that could do it.
That'll do. Oh, I also got a golden counter catcher. Neat. All right. The deck is one. Oh yeah, and then reverse hollow superior energies. All right, the deck is one step closer to being completed.
Past Taco really coming through here.
Thanks, pass me. Okay, so I will add that to my collection. Where was I? Oh yes, community engagement. Who will you be following during the playoffs? I am still sticking with the elite team.
half of the answers are still SoCal Swablu.
I know you'll be following the San Diego team in particular.
Yeah,
those are your guys, and you'll be here to check me when I inevitably quote unquote slander them.
Yeah, well, that occurs mostly when I'm not here, so.
It's okay. We do have some SoCal Swablu San Diego players in the Discord, if I remember correctly.
I mean, they may have cruised through at some point. I don't know who hangs out anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of names.
Bam.
Oh well.
Do you want to do some play Pokemon stuff?
We should do the play Pokemon stuff.
So, especially since you have a local to plug.
I do. So, April the 23rd, 2024, Critical Hit Games here in Iowa City is going to be the April Challenge. It's going to start at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, or Central Daylight Time, excuse me. I forgot Daylight Saving. Come there,
Whatever that middle word is right now.
Come for the fun, stay for the enjoyment. I'm going to be looking to continue my win streak down there. And yeah. So, like I said, Critical Hit Games, April 23rd, 2024. And we do also have another League Cup that is coming out.
Yeah.
That I will not be able to make.
Uh-oh.
Because I will
King
be
without his crown.
I will be in Texas at that time, so I will miss the last local cup in my area. May 18th, 2024, at Critical Hit Games at 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. There is going to be the last Pokemon Go League Cup. And just a quick refresher, League Cups, if you win, you get 50 points. League Challenges, if you win, you get 15 points. 500 points gets you to the championship. Excuse me. 500 points gets you a qualification to the World Championships in Honolulu, Hawaii, who we do finally have dates for. It is August the 16th through the 18th.
I know quite a few people are already getting their accommodations all set up, so if you are going, plan sooner than later, because as soon as they know there's a huge event, like, all the prices are going to go so much.
It's really weird that TBCI announces that, and I'm going to start ranting a little bit. So TBCI announces the location for the next year, and then they wait until it gets closer to announce the date. We know it's in August. We just don't know when in August. And now they finally came out with a date about a week ago. But still. Also, speaking of play Pokemon news, Dunebug became the 3-time regional champion, winning in Orlando, putting on an absolute clinic with Shadow Pidgeot.
Other Orlando shout out, at least for me, is the Man in the Planet getting to day 2.
Oh, yes. The Man in the Planet is a very good battler.
Very, very glad to see him do well, especially after how tough EUIC was.
And speaking of EUIC, we did have Dunebug place second, and Mew Weedle, I think it was Mew Weedle if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Mew Weedle.
Mew Weedle. I'm going to pronounce names wrong left
Mew
and right.
Weedle.
Became the EUIC Intercontinental Champion. So unfortunately, a North American player did not conquer Europe as I predicted. But we came real gosh darn close, so...
This is, and it's nice just to kind of put the doubters in their place a little bit with this win, because there was some speculation, especially around like the juniors division stuff, since it was, or I guess it was senior technically, but the first world section that was divided, and just like the legitimacy there was a little bit iffy, but coming up with the win at the international hopefully puts all of that speculation to rest. That's a world champion player right there.
Yee. So those are the last 2 weeks. Although I do want to give a shout out to, I think her name is Polasha with the Shadow Magnezone. That was Chef's Kiss, a beautiful place.
Well, and if you haven't gone and watched any of the Shadow Pidgeot play, that is also worth checking out. It's in the mix now. Like, thanks for that, Do One.
I mean, let's be real here. When you see Dunebug make it on stream and then do well as he does on stream with, he brought the Crocodile, I think twice, and now he brought Shadow Pidgeot. It's really astounding to just watch these plays. Like, even though, like, I consider myself a pretty good player, and then I look up to see what, like, Dunebug and, like, everyone else had made, like, day 2 or made it to, like, the winners or losers finals or even grand finals. They're playing on a whole different level.
Well, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't love to see the new stuff enter into the arena and come out on top. Like, I was talking to someone about this. Just the Open Great League meta is just in so much better of a place than it has been. Like, this is actually it feels good to play. It feels very dynamic. Like, there's so much less of the cookie cutter effect in play, and you see it with all of these top cut or day 2 teams. Like, it is not the game that it used to be.
Yeah, and that's 100%. Like, couldn't agree with you more on this one. The meta is very healthier. Some people will say that it's more RPS based. But when you compared to
Noctowl Trove Lantern, no way.
Yeah, like, obviously you're still gonna have some form of rock paper scissors, but I am gonna say that you can still, play out. It's easier to play out of bad situations now than it was back then.
Well, and before we move on, again, always impressive to see Caleb just making a statement with Bastiodon. Like, say what you will about it, but he is consistent.
Yeah. I don't like Bastiodon, but I can respect that player in particular using Bastiodon. Now, if they can nerf it into Oblivion, please, so we can stop seeing it in the Great League.
I mean, the thing that I'm surprised I haven't seen more of, especially just because they seem to be somewhat prevalent, is the Shadow Basti. Like, I wondered, like, oh man, is it the time? And it feels like there really hasn't been the adaptation yet, and maybe it's just because people went all in with their XLs on their top ranked regular Basti and didn't really have it in the bank to make a Shadow. But
as I always state, start walking.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Spanish or vanish.
All right, so it's time for the salsa bar / where's the bacon. So first, we're gonna start with Jet. Where's the bacon?
Bacon is MIA for me. I'm up to 1,777 encounters with no shiny. Also want to have another tally going since we started this segment. JetForceGemini has gotten 4 shinies, 2 of them in one day. It's just,
oh no!
Where it's like, okay, cool, yeah. This is definitely personal now.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
That's so depressing, but so funny at the same time.
It is what it is. And hey, if your prediction comes right, we're chilling until we get to 2,500. So
yeah. Okay.
I did see in one of the local Facebook groups, though, someone had a very similar experience with the pig to me, but they were up to almost 2,300 encounters before they got their shiny. So I'm at least on pace with them at this point.
That'll do it, honestly.
But yeah, the bug out event has made it much more difficult to get as many checks. But while we were on vacation and stuff, plenty of opportunities, as evidenced by the shinies that showed up for others. But
Right.
not time yet. Not time.
Right. Okay. So I have a little bit of a funny salsa bar. Maybe
What
not
happened?
hot. So first, it's kind of a twofer. So first, I woke up like a couple of days ago, and it was like kind of cold. So I bundled up and I rode out to work. It started to rain. The day goes on. I'm leaving, and it's still raining. And so me being me, I put I'm like, oh, I have my winter gear, or not my winter gear. I have my raincoat gear. It's fine. I look into my pannier and I realize that I took all my rain gear out to wash. So all my rain gear was at home, and I was about 3 miles away, having to ride home. So I wait for a break in the rain. I start riding. The minute I start riding, it starts to rain again.
Of course.
And I'm going east. And the weather system is also going east. So I'm just like riding, and it's just following me as I'm.
You're just in it.
Yeah, like it was just why. And the unfortunate part was, the minute I get home, after about 5 minutes, rain stops, like it never happened.
So yeah, the the gap was just right behind you. It was chasing you the whole way. All you had to do was stop.
So here I was, just soaked for nothing.
Yeah.
But the bike ended up okay. I dried it off, and it was still kind of stupid cold afterwards, because now tomorrow morning, after this episode is finished recording, it's supposed to be thunderstorming, and I got to do it all over again. But this time I packed my rain gear.
I was gonna say that is the silver lining, right? Is that you are ready for the next one.
I packed my rain gear.
Good job.
Okay.
Now you're prepared.
Yes.
Oh, and I can add my mini salsa bar, although mine is Pokemon related, where
Okay.
I went through the whole cycle of Serene. Like, I mean, that has an asterisk because obviously I had technical difficulties, but I sat there thinking, like, looking at all these people playing Serene, bringing their Kanto Farfetch, like, oh man, that's such a cool pick. It finally has a chance to really be useful. Like it's actually decently like ranked and rated and has good targets for the moves and stuff, and it's like, man, I would totally use that if I had a hundo. But I happened to check. I think I was just trying to make room in my box, and I have this old Lucky 98 Farfetched from like 2019 and plug it in, of course, at 51. It's a functional hundo.
No.
So if anyone has seen me buddy up the Farfetch'd recently, I don't know if it'll ever have a day quite like we had this past cycle, but next time I'll be ready.
That's beautiful. All right, so now we get to, after we get finished making fun of ourselves, it's time to get to the achievement section. Achievement of the week, or 2 weeks in this case. So, we were gone for 2 weeks. It's time to go for 2 weeks worth. So, firstly, want to give a special congratulations to Zimmy Kid, the honestly, I'm running out of nice things to say about him. He's just an all-around amazing dude. He made the leaderboards on the 5th of April. And if I'm reading this correctly, he was ranked 411. Still higher than I could have ever made it. Faction teammate Danny, Master League Specialist Extraordinaire, got 20 million Stardust almost on the dot. He went 3 over. And of course, fellow teammate Moist Donut promptly stated, "Touch grass, kid."
I wonder if Donut has more than 7 best buddies now.
It's probably 7.5. He's working on that 8th one. I want to give a special shout out to you, Jet. You got 10,000. Is that Great League battles?
Yeah, Great League wins.
Okay, sorry, Great League wins.
So I can get all 3 of mine out of the way if you want me to rapid fire the other 2.
Yeah, rapid fire the other 2.
Because I also hit expert and I got my 100th showcase win. So I got my Professor Pikachu as well.
Is it still Ivy locked?
No, it is not.
Okay.
So of course mine also almost hit, is actually worse than the Ivy lock.
Oh no.
And not that it matters, but it's just like the comedy continues.
Niantic doing Niantic things as per usual.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a one and done. So, I mean, maybe someone will enjoy a lucky trade or something.
I got a little bit of an achievement. So this is my first time playing the TC. Like I said, I started playing the TCG a little bit more, starting to grind there. I have made it all the way to the middle of the Ultra Ball tier, or excuse me, of the Great Ball tier, which there's a ladder. They have they have 3 baby Pokemon, and then they have 3 Pokeball Pokemon, and then they go to I think it's 10 Great, 10 Ultra, 1 Master, and then an Arceus League. I'm sitting in the middle of the Great one, and if I win 3 more battles, I'll be moving into the next portion.
So just to clarify, this is for TCG Online?
Yeah, TCG Online, the
Okay.
TCG Live deal. And usually, when the GBL servers are just super doo doo, I'll just play on that one. Of course, it's going to be down for maintenance for the next couple of days, for the 8 hours overnight while we're asleep, so I won't be able to play as much. But just the fact that I found something else I'm pretty good at, and now I have this conundrum of I'm good at TCG, I'm good at VG, and I'm pretty good at Go. Which one do I do?
Where do I invest my time?
Because obviously my goal is still to remain the same, to at least make it to Worlds. But now I'm trying to wonder what is going to take me to Worlds.
That is very much a you question, right? But
Yeah,
the bar I feel like is so high for all 3 formats, but at least for VG and TCG, there are more opportunities, right?
Mhm.
The field is wider, but it also means you can get more out of the experience. They get at least a full day of Swiss. So
yeah.
you're not just in it for the double elimination.
But I know also some people will say oh, if you go 0-3, you drop. Some people will just drop out, which I've never really agreed to doing, because you pay for the experience.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like that is also a point of privilege at some level, right? Where it's that's someone who probably isn't paying their way in, or doesn't feel it, I guess.
No, that's fair. That's a fair point to say. That's not a knock at the players. Some people they'll 0-3 and drop because they realize, oh well, I'm not getting to top cut. I'm out of the running for points. So why am I still going to continue to play if like I could get a jump start on the way home or something along those lines.
Yeah, whatever it is. But yeah,
Right.
if there are still games to be played and like the ability to build extra experience, like I felt this way too about playing game 3 and Sylph, even if I was down 0-2, like why would you opt to not play the third? Like unless it was like a live tournament situation and you were already behind for some other reason, like I get feeling the stress from that. But as far as like what you can gain just by playing the game, especially from someone who's better than you in that moment, like you got to go for it, right?
Oh, 100%. Like if you don't go for it, then you're kind of just like beating yourself up.
And it feels weird to give those wins away for free, right?
Oh yeah, because I think the way that it works, like with Swiss, is if you drop, they take you out of the system, and so like the Swiss player kind of starts here. I'm gonna try to get it, and then like as more people drop, you'll end up like just kind of doing that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I get the whole notion of I'm not winning so I can be done, but especially if you're someone who is just getting into a new format, I feel like there's just too much to gain by the experience that it would be such a waste.
And I would probably preface it by saying, like, I would say that VG and TCG has better options for points, because, like, if they drop, you get access to, or if they drop and you're still staying in, you can climb that ladder.
Your placement is immediately better.
Honestly, yeah. So at minimum, you could, like, say, I'll use the Masters TCG as an example. They consistently have over 1,000 players.
Yeah.
On the Play Pokemon Championship points for regionals, if you place in the top 512, so the top half, you get 20 points. I mean, of course, like, I would need to get an extra 100 points because Go requires 500 points, whereas I would be in what's called the Masters division because I'm over 18 for TCG and VGC, and that's 600 points respectively.
Yeah,
So,
I mean the division name is the same, except for the fact that Go just stopped having divisions. So,
well, yeah, because you had to be 13 to play the game, and what we saw in the first Worlds, we had like 6 seniors that were from ages 13 to 17. That's how New Weedle got the first and only World Championship for the senior division for Go.
yeah, well, and so I was really referring to just like even the amount of events you can attend, where yes, within an event there are like, I guess we were mostly talking about like regional, right? Like the crowd is immense, but I mean, even just the amount of hosts that exists for the main game and the TCG is considerably higher than for Go. So that aspect of it, I feel like is pretty encouraging, right? Like the tough thing to me about TCG is just how much of a money sink it can be, especially as regulations rotate. It's not like the video game where, okay, I have to bench some stuff. It's I maybe have to build an entire new deck for X amount of dollars.
I want to agree with you, and I would tend to agree with you, but I'm gonna disagree on that one. I've been so with my buddies in the local game shop who play a lot of TCG. They inform me that rotations happen about once a year. So like
okay, so it's not as bad.
Yeah. So and it's usually like 3 months ish before Worlds, 3 to 4 months. And so what happens is I'll use this card as an example, the card catcher. So like on the card, and for those of you still listening, there is a little section like that has a letter. In this case, counter catcher has the letter G. So in standard play, after rotations, I think we're at F. So F and G is where like you're allowed to use those cards, or I think E as well. Long story short, where you have like this Irida card has a little F at the bottom. So there will come a point where like this card is going to rotate out because they're going to say, okay, if you have any cards with the letter F designation, you can't play it in standard play. You have to use G and to normal sets.
Okay, so it's kind of like there's 3 active sets at a time. Is that how it works?
Like 3 active letters, because like Irida is from like this Irida has a letter F. It's from the Sword and Shield sets, whereas Superior
so
Energy
it can even be across multiple sets. It's just they kind of have a wider designation for their timeline, I guess, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
How I'm interpreting that.
Yeah, and like counter catcher, so like a lot of them too, like they'll have little symbols on it. So like this one is the Sword and Shield Crown Zenith for Irida. Counter catcher has what says Paren, so that's Paradox. It's one of the Paradox sets from Scarlet and Violet. And my Superior Energy Retrievals came from a set called Paldea Evolved. So there and again, sets will have like the little designation, like for standard play, this is what it'll use. With VG or VGC, it's like every 3 to 4 months. You have like the regulations or the series. And so like they change it every now and then, which is fine. It's Pokemon. You're just training and breeding up and testing. It's a lot faster. But like going back to the TCG part, you can build a pretty competitive deck for $50-ish. I know some cards are like, but this card's like $70. Yeah, but that's the full art version. You can get the common version for cheaper. That's at least why I started playing the TCG, because it's cheaper than Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic combined.
Well, yeah. I feel like at this point, I know there's like still some places that do Friday Night Magic, and that just like astounds me that it has survived to yet another era.
Magic's never gonna die, man. Wizards of the Coast, they've started printing cards that are like mainstream and pop culture. Like you had Lord of the Rings a couple of months ago. Now you have Fallout. Shameless plug, I was on the Pixels Polygons and Fun podcast, and we talked about Magic a little bit.
Nice.
So, but yeah, so that's a little bit of some TCG and VG knowledge. Of course, if TCG players and VG players, if you happen to come across this video because it gets recommended for whatever reason, let you know I am a beginner when it comes to the TCG. I'm like a sponge. I'll absorb everything, like what's told to me from the local players, and if it's wrong, feel free to correct me nicely. If you're gonna be a jerk about it, I'm gonna ignore you. I'll be very honest.
You're on the learning track.
Yeah. This is how we get communities to grow. You bring them in, you foster learning, and then you send them off to the wolves. I mean, you send them off on their Pokemon journey.
Oh yeah, speaking of our new people, did we shout out Taffy yet?
No, I was about to get there. So,
Okay, cool.
new EMEA co-host Taffy Star recently also hit legend. So, congrats! Round of applause for Taffy Star.
Woo!
If you're not,
with the team,
yeah. And if you're not subscribed to her, go get subscribed. She
do
makes
the
awesome
subscribe.
videos. GBL progress is real short for me, though. I did nothing.
Well, where are you? Are you like 21, 22?
I'm at 2368.
Oh, so you're a day away from veteran.
Pretty much.
Whenever you want to do that,
Pretty much, yeah.
you just gotta play.
I'll get there. I'll get there.
You gonna play some Master League with me?
I'll try.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
I mean, the fact that I can go 3-2 and 4-1 in the Master League with my team, it's pretty astounding.
Yeah, I think there's a decent amount of room at this point to get away with various top end stuff.
Yeah. I can't wait to try out Master Premiere because I will be going full ham on a little thing I've been cooking. So
it's nice to feel like a mad genius sometimes.
yeah. Okay. So what's your GBO progress looking like, Jet?
I mentioned I hit expert, and then I've been just trying to get my games in after that. Like that was my short-term goal, was just to get over that next hump of expert, and then I haven't cared as much. So now we're gonna play some Master League. It's gonna be fun.
Woo!
And yeah, just making sure to get the games in, so I'm getting the bonus dust while we have the 4x going.
Oh yeah, I gotta do that.
Because I'm also not great about playing a ton of games. Like the other achievement thing of hitting 10,000 Great League wins is like I feel like especially for how long I've been playing, that my total games in GBLs is a lot lower than most. So
that's fair.
I wanna try to boost those numbers a little bit.
Well, alrighty then. So with that, this is going to be a longer episode. I can feel it already. We have now reached the tail end of the episode.
We can trim it. We can do better.
Yeah. Well, I guess now it's time for us to do our little outro. So thank you all so much for listening and watching again. Y'all listening week in and week out, commenting, subscribing, and poking fun at Taco getting stuff wrong, or Jet getting stuff wrong once in a solar eclipse is definitely is definitely something to definitely something that's awesome. We appreciate it day in and day out. The support y'all provide is immensely. The team that plays under us is like, I love you all. It's like a brotherhood and sisterhood. So with all that being said, though, we do unfortunately have to say goodbye tonight. But until next time, always remember, keep those dragon fangs sharp. You can beat those ice types if you try hard enough. Fairy types, you're going to need some extra help. And until next time, we will see you all in our next episode. Bye-bye.